Okay, now I get to introduce next, and I'm so grateful that we've created this fun little segue. Just by I think it was fabulous that Shark mentioned the vocal cords are vibrational. So your tone of voice, your volume, those are all giving messages to your nervous system, which makes total sense. And then we move right into Kathy Truman, she's got her email address. That's really smart. She's got her email address right on her like profile as we talk. And it's letusbeintune@gmail.com. So fun thing about Kathy is that she is a musician. And in fact, not just any musician. She has quite a history or a story with that, which she may not share today, but she also has 20 years experience teaching, mentoring, presenting, writing, and working with clients concerning healing their emotional wounds and generational pathologies, as well as dealing with life's everyday trials and challenges. This includes working with issues related to abuse, trauma, addiction, relationships, parenting, self-worth, lack of purpose, and more. So Kathy is going to talk to us about understanding our Auric personalities, because there's kind of like a personality profiling with it. Okay. So Kathy and I go back, at least maybe almost 20 years. It's yeah, 18 to 20 years. And we were both pretty much like working in the arena of, understanding, energy medicine and studying together. But the difference is that I have a professional background, in a license in therapy, whereas Kathy is an intuitive. And like I mentioned earlier, I love the intuitives because you can't train that. You can't go through 4 years of college and become an intuitive. Kathy is one of the most intuitive people I know. Her gifts are pure and very light oriented. And she's able to, I think, identify and use a very clear power to support true shifts and true healing. And so I'm really grateful that she's here to share. And talking about ours is part of this understanding of our vital body. So vital body includes, let me review that really quick, the meridians, like we talked about with EFT and 0 Point Meridian, and the chakras, like Tamara shared, with those wheels that are part of our being, our makeup, and then the auric field. So there we go. Let's learn more about that.
Well, this was really a fun topic for Christine to ask me to teach. We all have relationships in our lives, and our auras actually help us in our relationship with ourselves, and it also helps us in our relationship with others. And once we gain kind of an understanding of this, you just want to know more. So what I'm offering is my whole complete ebook as a gift that it describes all of the different auric personalities. But there's just a couple that Christine asked me to focus on today, and that is the crystal or the empaths and the indigos. And I'll explain what those are. So this is kind of a couple of visuals of what an aura is like. We all have energy that emanates from us. And the one reason I say let us be in tune is when a musical note is in tune, fast and level frequency, bing, it's in tune. If it's out of tune, that frequency slows down. Wah, 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 wah. And when even one instrument in an orchestra is out of tune, it can mess up all of it. And when we are out of tune, our aura is affected. And towards the end of this class, I'm going to talk about how to keep our aura in tune, keep it bright, keep it clear, and keep that frequency fast. But there are people who actually have the gift of being able to see someone's aura. I find that a lot of times people say they can see someone's aura when they're, standing up speaking, like at a church or, somewhere where they're just kind of standing still and speaking. That why with them holding still there, they're able to kind of start to see this aura that shines out from them. So all living things have an aura. So why do you care? Why do you care about your aura? One is that it helps you to know yourself better. You know, all of us are unique beings, but it's interesting how we actually have people that we have a lot in common with, that see the world the same way that we see it, and that react in the same way that we react. And when you go through the different personality traits of different auras, and you start to recognize yourself, it's like, oh, I'm not the only one that feels this way. I can see where I fit in. This is normal for my personality style. I don't have to act like everybody else does. I can respond according to my own personality style and live my life according to my own innate traits and your own divine being. So it helps you to stay in power and balance. Know your identity is not wrong, inadequate, or inappropriate. I have a sister-in-law that is a yellow, and she is spontaneous and fun, and I am organized and plan ahead, you know. And so both of us have looked at each other and said, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I more spontaneous? And why am I not more organized? And we tend to do that. We tend to look at others and their personality styles and think, why can't I be more like that? What's wrong with me? And when we can identify what our unique personality style is, it helps us to actually, accept ourselves a lot more, which is wonderful. That's your true nature. When we talk about not conforming to expectations, a lot of those expectations are things we put on ourselves. With others, we tend to project out. Why aren't they responding to that the way I would respond to that? Why aren't they doing it the way I would do it? That's just human nature that we do that. So as you can recognize that other people are responding according to their personality style and the way that they see the world, it helps us to be a lot more accepting of others and understanding. And it really does serve relationships. I have to remind myself sometimes, this child is this personality style. I can't expect them to respond to something the way I am responding to it. And so it helps you to have empathy, but it also really helps you to have more patience, I would say, in recognizing others' personality styles. Prevent feeling confused or disconnected from who you really are. Self-awareness, empower you to live in your truth. I think those all pretty much speak the same thing. Some people have this gift of being able to see auras. And I don't know if any of you have seen those magic eye books where you have to kind of almost go cross-eyed just a little bit, and then all of a sudden that image pops up at you. I can't see auras myself, but that's what people that can see auras say it's kind of like. It's not just you just see with your regular eyes. It's like you kind of zone in a little bit, and then all of a sudden that aura appears. But for those of us that don't have that gift, there's Kirlian photography, and it actually takes pictures of people's auras. And as you can see from some of these pictures, not everyone has just one color. And most of us aren't just one personality style. We have shades of different things. When I got my aura picture taken, and I was all pink, and then I had a big purple band across the top. And as I look up those personality styles, that very much fit me. The pink is someone who's very family oriented and likes to do get-togethers and is quite nurturing and things. And then the purple is I'm a musician. I'm a teacher. I'm a writer, and those kinds of things are in that purple personality style. And so it was really validating to actually get my picture taken and then be able to look at the traits that are in those colors and say, yeah, that's me. And I really enjoyed that. So if you guys have any opportunity to get a photograph taken of your auras, that would be a really cool thing to do. I should Google and see who does it in our area. Here's just some people that are primarily, most of us have a core aura color, something that's our primary being. We have different things, but we have a main core, and we need all the colors. We need them all. Some may be people that we can get along with a lot better than others, but the universe, our world needs all colors. The red are like the firemen and the policemen and the guys that go in the army and that are really bold and take risks and aren't afraid. I mean, that's not me at all. But where would I be without, where would we all be, our communities, without those people? Orange are very outgoing and happy. They're more performers and clowns and people that like to be the center of attention. Blues are very nurturing, very peaceful, peacemakers. A lot of the motherly traits that we hear about are in that blue spectrum. Indigos, I'm gonna focus on in this. So I'm gonna tell you a lot of the traits of the indigos, but my guess would be that nearly every one of you has at least one indigo child, if not more. They very much are the children of this generation. The yellows, spontaneous and fun and friendly and really outgoing. And the greens, they love nature and healing, but also they're really good with money. And a lot of big CEOs of companies are green because they just know what to do with money. They know how to make it, and they're just really efficient with that. Violets, this says magical, mystical, but when I've read about violets, it's more, like I said, the musicians, the writers, the teachers, those type of people. And then the whites, which says divine energy, new understandings. And we're going to go with crystal, and we're going to focus on that. Those two aura colors is going to be our main emphasis in this presentation. And here's some more pictures showing how people are blends of things. And so they talk about auric layers, and you have these layers. So we're going to focus on kind of what your core auric personality is today. But it is really fun to look at all the different auric personalities and see how they play out in your life. For instance, your job, one part of your auric personality may really be forefront when you're home, another part when you're out with your friends, another part. When you are, go to your church or whatever, another part. And so it's really cool to really take a look and understand all these different layers and all the different aspects of your personality. So we're going to start with the crystal aura. You can see this is really white. And another way that we talk about the crystals is the empaths. I would say probably a larger chunk of my clientele is empaths than any other specific personality style. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And I'm going to cover that as we keep going. I chose this picture because when an empath or a highly sensitive personality, a crystal personality, when they are clear, then they can shine beauty anywhere. When they are absorbing everything from everyone around them and they never clear that, it's like what becomes a diamond but coal. And so they can be a very heavy thing. This is a very special personality style that does need to be managed with sensitivity. So I'm going to just quickly kind of go through some of the traits of an empath or a crystal personality. For those of you that have this in your person or know someone or have someone in your family or a friend that has this personality style, I think as we go through these traits, you'll really recognize this personality. And then we'll talk about the blessings of it and then the challenges of it and how to help that. But empath perception, that sense of knowing, because they are not just depending on their cognitive perception of things, but they actually feel what's going on. They feel the energy. They're very highly sensitive to the energy of what's around them. And that helps them, give them another layer of understanding. Being in public places can be very overwhelming. Look at the amount of energy there. You take a child that's an empath and they're in a classroom of students and they're supposed to be focusing on the teacher and learning from the teacher, but they are picking up on the energy of all the students around them, what's going on with them. They can feel what's going on in their personal lives and their, attitude towards the teacher and all these different elements. And so we're going, oh, focus on the teacher, focus on your homework. And they really struggle with that. It's very difficult for them to be able to do that. Being the emotional sponge. And you think about when you take a sponge, it's really light, right? But then you fill it full of water. That's very heavy. And that's the way it is for empaths. When they're cleared of others' emotions and when they do the work that they need to do to manage this personality style, they can feel very light. But as they are absorbing the things from everyone around them, they get heavier and heavier. And then they wonder, what's wrong with me? Why is so-and-so resilient? Why can they, not get weighed down with these things? And yet I am, and I feel that. And it can become very heavy. Watching violence, cruelty, tragedy on TV. Again, they're absorbing that energy. Just a couple of interesting things about this. One is, I don't know, this is probably just speculation, but I know Heath Ledger committed suicide after playing the Joker in a movie. And from reading accounts about that and what his girlfriend and stuff said, he really absorbed the energy of that role and had a hard time escaping it, clearing himself from that and managing the heaviness of that. And the other thing is, I call it the ain't it awfuls. When you watch the news, and especially all the politics that have been going on lately, a lot of times we say, ain't it awful, ain't it awful, ain't it awful? Or you see a tragedy that happens, or you see the hurricane, the storm, the people that are out of their homes. Ain't it awful, ain't it awful, ain't it awful? Well, there's an energy to that. And when the whole nation and the whole world sends all of this ain't it awful energy to an event, it actually weighs on the people of that event and makes it heavier for them to deal with. What if all of those people instead prayed for the people, sent them, praised God, sent them this healing energy, and think what that could do to uplift the people that are victimized by a tragedy or a crime or something. And so when you do see something on the news that's, oh, ain't it awful? Try to focus on saying a quick prayer for them and sending them some healing energy. Send something that uplifts them instead of weighs them down. They know when someone's not being honest. And that's part of that empath perception. You can't really lie to an empath. They know it. Picking up physical symptoms off another. I had a really interesting empath client. She was only 11 years old. Her father worked in the oil fields up in Montana. And every time he would get sick in Montana, she would get the exact same illness. And it, she was missing school and just feeling miserable. And it was just, she just had this connection. And we're going to talk about those unhealthy connections and how to clear those. But she always was getting exactly the same things that he was getting up in Montana. And so sometimes, if you're feeling something, like, it's good to identify, is this really my feeling, or am I picking this up from somebody else? Digestive disorders. As Tamara taught with the chakras, we have a solar plexus that's right below our sternum. And that's the center of our self-worth, how we feel about ourselves. Well, empaths often struggle with that because they're not just feeling their own feelings, they're feeling everybody else's too. And so that has a physical effect on them. And as that hits their core there, they end up with digestive disorders and back problems as it hits both sides. How the chakras come in both ways. And so that's another symptom of being an empath. They always look out for the underdog. again, empaths, we need the empaths in the world. We need these highly sensitive souls. I think of that, the kind of love that Christ had for people, where he put their needs above his own, and he definitely looked out for the underdog. And I think that the empaths have that same kind of Christ-like love, where they um, are always have the compassion and that those healing energies towards the underdog. Others will want to offload their problems on you, even strangers. And that others, not only can you feel their energy, but a lot of other people can feel the empathic energy that you have. And they will be drawn to you like a magnet to be able to share their problems and their issues, because they can sense your light, they can sense your empathy, they sense that you can perceive what they're really feeling. And so often you'll get that. Constant fatigue, mental energy, energetic energy, it requires a lot of energy, just like I talked about the student in the classroom and how, the energy of all those students around them, or somebody going to a football game or in a crowd. When you're picking up all the energy of everyone around you, that can really take a toll and cause a lot of fatigue. And don't worry, we're going to talk about how to manage all of these symptoms, but I just want you to be able to recognize if this is something that you relate to. Addictive personalities. And a lot of times addictive personalities, it's an escape. They get so overwhelmed with all of the energy and all of the feelings from everyone else that an addiction is something that kind of helps them to escape that for a little while. And it's an unhealthy coping technique. We're going to talk about some healthy coping techniques as we go. They are drawn to healing and holistic therapies because they go deeper than the average person, and they understand what other people are feeling. It naturally brings up compassion for others and a desire to help them relieve their burdens and be able to clear and help them. And so you'll find a lot of empaths in healing and holistic therapies. Those that are empaths that are in this field really need to use some of the coping techniques that I'm going to talk about, because if every client, they're absorbing everything from every client and they're not doing the clearing work afterwards, it can really be it can really have negative consequences on their own health and their own mental state of mind. Very creative. A lot of really creative geniuses have empath personalities. Love of nature and animals. This is a vital piece of healing for empaths. They need to get out. And the heart chakra is pink and green. The feminine is the pink and the green is more of the masculine, but both pink and green heal the heart chakra. And I always think of nature as God's heart. There's so much green in nature. And as you go out into nature, you're actually in God's heart and you're able to absorb all of that kind of healing energy. And animals are empaths. A dog, if a dog comes up to you, they sniff you, they know if you're friend or foe immediately. And if they, I used to have a horse and ride horses all the time. And I trusted my horse's instincts. If my horse was trembling about something or backed up, I trusted my horse's instincts. And so when you get an animal that's an empath, animals that know when you're sad and they come to comfort you and things, to have that kind of nurturing energy from a pet or an animal is so healing for an empath personality. It gives them somebody to share that with. Okay, solitude. Solitude is different than just being alone. A lot of times people think of solitude as just, oh, I'm alone. But I see that as more of a passive thing, where I see solitude as more of an active practice. Christine teaches us a lot about meditation and the power of meditation and the healing energy that goes out to the world from meditation. and how it clears our minds. And so when that sponge is getting heavy, or when you're getting that overwhelmed from all of the energy of people around you, solitude is an active way of healing, to commune with nature, to commune with God, to clear your mind in meditation, to have a meditative thing where you are visualizing yourself cleansing from all of that energy, and seeing the burdens being lifted. The girl that I mentioned that got the physical symptoms from her father, what she was so interesting. She was very creative. I told her to, how you go to a drive-up window and you put the tube in and it sucks it up. And I told her to visualize gathering all of the pain and the hurt that she was feeling, the illness, any negative energy burdens that she's feeling, to gather them up to her, like her solar plexus, and putting them into the canister of the drive-up bank, and then shooting it on up to heaven, to send it to the Savior, send those burdens to the Savior. And she came back the next appointment, and she said that she made it her portal to heaven. She decorated it in her mind. She had decorated it. She had flowers there. She had all these things. And that was her portal. And by her mentally using that portal to heaven to put all of that in, her illnesses went away. It was amazing. It's amazing what our intention and what our minds and our brains are capable of. But she just would focus all that energy and she would shoot it through her portal to the Savior, and her physical symptoms went away, and she quit getting the sicknesses of her father. Whenever something came on, she didn't dwell in it. She just immediately put it there and sent it. For the first 7 seconds, when something comes, we have a physical reaction to it. After that, we are making a conscious choice to somehow nurture and keep that. And so having that portal on the go, on the ready, to be able to send those things up to your higher power, is a really effective technique. But solitude is a time for healing, not just a time to escape. It's a time when you do the work to meditate, to listen to healing music, to do something that positively heals you, not just escape and run away from the energy. Empaths get bored or distracted easily if they're not stimulated. And the funny thing is they kind of adapt to having so much stimulation all the time. That's why those meditative practices are so important. Find it impossible to do things they don't enjoy, because they are so authentic. They are such authentic people that they just can't be fake and do things. When you are dealing with an empath, you're dealing with a very genuine person. Strives for the truth. Again, you just can't be dishonest. Always looking for answers and knowledge. They're seekers. They're exciting people to know. Likes adventure and freedom and travel. With the travel, it's hard because they usually want to go to the beach, not to Vegas. They want to go to somewhere that's healing for them, and not in big crowds and stuff. And so if you're a family member of an empath, it's important to be aware of that. They abhor clutter. And the reason is because clutter has energy to it. And so they're feeling the energy of everything in your house. I had a good friend that was an empath, and I have these kitchen shelves, and I had up above the cupboards, I had decor up there and stuff. And she came in and she was just like, we have to change it. We have to change it now. And she had really good taste, and she helped me to kind of glean things down and stuff, but she just couldn't take it. I think sometimes it actually physically hurts empaths to be around a bunch of clutter. They love to daydream, which is awesome. Finds routine, rules, or control imprisoning. I kind of like this thing here. Do not read the next sentence. You little rebel, I like you. It just kind of amuses me. But because they're such authentic people and creative people, they don't like to be boxed in. When I talked about the solar plexus chakra and the digestive disorders and the lower back problems, a lot of times empaths will actually put on extra weight in their belly. And it's kind of their body's way of protecting their solar plexus, of kind of putting a barrier there, to protect that sense of self-worth and all that energy that comes into them. They're excellent listeners. That's one reason that so many people offload their issues onto them. Intolerance to narcissism. When I talked about them being authentic people, who is really inauthentic, but a narcissist, and they can feel it, they can read it, and it just grates against them. It's really hard for them to have a relationship with a narcissist. Some of them can feel the days of the week, because they have that kind of energy. They also feel the energy of a home or a space or furniture or things that, have had energy. They can sometimes feel the previous owner, which I think is really interesting. And they have the ability to, if something bad has happened in a space, they immediately feel it and they don't want to be in that space. And so trust an empath, trust them, trust their feelings. Sense the energy of food, and this is primarily with animal products. Some empaths are so sensitive that they can actually feel the feelings of the cow when it got butchered or whatever. And so they have a lot of empaths prefer to be vegetarians or vegans. They can appear moody, shy, aloof, disconnected, but that's when they're overwhelmed and they are trying to. Sometimes you can't go have solitude whenever you want. And so they will try to just disconnect themselves within a situation. So, but this is also one of the ways that I suggest to people to manage being an empath. The old slide projectors where a slide goes in and then you push that slide out and then push another slide in. I think we need to have slides ready to slide into our brains that are healing to us. If you're in a place, in a football stadium, and there's no way, you can't leave, you can't escape all of that energy, and it's getting overwhelming. In your mind, you can slide out that football game and slide in a waterfall, a nature path, a path through the trees, not a nature path doctor, but path through the trees. Or you can slide in snuggling with your dog, or something that brings your heart rate down, that brings you peace, that you can, Sherry mentioned humming. I always, if you're able to sing, memorize some of your favorite children's songs, hymns, some of your favorite, memorize them so that they are on the ready, so that you can, even in your mind, sing them inside your mind, because it will help to clear out all of that excess energy and help you to change your focus and calm down your vagus nerve. So you have this heavy sponge with all these emotions, so we need to squeeze out the sponge. One of the biggest issues that I find with my clients that are empaths is what I call energetic cords or codependencies. And I think this picture, both of these pictures, really show what codependencies, a good aura is solid. And, you have this light around you. It isn't shredded like this picture shows. Or the other one where you can see where the aura is kind of collapsing in, and you notice that it's the one on the picture on the right is going from solar plexus to solar plexus. That codependency or that energetic cord. It's very easy when you're someone who people offload their problems to, or you look out for the underdog, or you're so authentic in your relationships, or you end up in a relationship with a narcissist, or all of these relationship issues. It's very easy to have your aura get shredded. it is no longer your armor of light. It's no longer your shield. It becomes compromised and damaged. And so it's very important to let go of these energetic cords, to let go of these codependencies. Now, a lot of people say, cut the cord, cut the cord, cut the apron strings type thing. I find that when you have that kind of an energy to it, if I'm going to cut the cord to that person, there's a negative energy behind that. And it usually is very upsetting to the other person. And a lot of times they will come back twice as hard. They feel the void of it and they don't like it. And so they will actually jump in harder to try to reestablish that relationship. And it can cause a lot of problems in relationships. What I suggest is the energy of transferring that energetic cord or that codependency to the Lord, so that they are depending on a higher power instead of depending on you. They aren't left with a void. That the energy of that is a healthy boundary, and it's one of love, and not of cutting these people out of my life or cutting them off. Those kind of things always backfire. So energetic cords is one of the most important things. And again, you create this with, I have a script for this that, with the intention of letting that go to the Savior. But intention is everything. If you have that intention and you visualize, you create. We want to be able to instantly manifest our intentions. And so as you just focus on that and just let that go, and then live your life a little differently to where you are maintaining that healthy boundary. That will help you a lot. This just shows a difference between someone with a dim aura versus a bright aura. I have a whole class I do called the armor of light. When people say they put up shields, they always when I muscle test them, they always test weak, because a shield is put up out of fear. There's a boogeyman out there to get me. And anytime I say, okay, visualize putting up a shield, I muscle test somebody, man, their arm goes straight down. But when I say, okay, now radiate light, and those that can live in that light, that are comfortable in that light, will be in your space. And those that are repelled by that light, there's a natural boundary there. But you're not doing that out of fear and I got to protect myself against the boogeyman. And it will brighten your light, love will brighten your light more than anything. And so as you send out love and healing energy, that's what you attract. And that also brightens your light, which is the armor of God. So that's a whole class that I do. But anyway, so these are some things that you can do to keep your aura bright. We talked about the energetic cords, negative thoughts and words. We think that our aura is just like here. Here it is. No, our aura is this, and then 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 this, and this. And it's bright, and then it dims, and it's bright, and it dims. So it's something that we have to maintenance basically all day, every day, just to keep our light bright. And that's just kind of how I refer to it. Keep my light bright instead of trying to strengthen my aura. It's just keep my light bright. What keeps my light bright? Positivity, love, gratitude. Alcohol and drugs can disturb your aura. Judging others, someone pointing their finger at you. And, when I just do this, the thing that you immediately think of is tis, 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 or shame on you. And shame is the lowest vibration, the one closest to death. Music and media are so, they have such a huge impact on our light, because we immediately kind of suck into that we surround ourselves with. We calibrate to that which we surround ourselves with. And if we're surrounding ourselves with things that are very dim lights, then our light's going to dim. Pornography, surgery cuts your aura. And so I think it's kind of a good thing to get a blessing before you go into a hospital, or when you're starting a school year, or things that brighten your light and help to repair your aura. Physical, emotional, and spiritual imbalances. Like I said, we calibrate. You can't have something at this level, then this level, then this level, you're going to calibrate. And so you want everything to kind of live together. So as we focus on those things, let's see. Oh man. So empaths are healer souls who deeply feel their surroundings and work to restore emotional and energetic balance by introducing a new positive vibration. I've got indigos, Christine, but am I out of time?
Yes. Well, you've got like a minute left. So
Okay.
what, maybe like do the quick version and then.
Okay, I'll just tell you.
Okay.
Indigos are the warrior children. You can't
Mm.
tell them what to do. They don't like routine. They don't like traditions, and they don't like to wait in line. They are free thinkers. They're independent. They hate to be controlled. They hate guilt discipline. If you have an indigo child, you are blessed, but boy, are you going to be kept on your toes. And what we really have to parent them the way God parents us. He doesn't control every move we make. He teaches us the things that are right, and we have agency, but we also have consequences. He doesn't come down and put his thumb on us, and he doesn't sit and criticize us. He doesn't, micromanage. And so if you have one of these indigo children that are, they have a really hard time sitting still in school and doing stupid assignments and paperwork assignments. I've got a son that's an indigo, and he would just go the first day of college and find out if the teacher was going to read from a book or if they were going to teach. And if they were just going to read from the textbook, he just found out when the tests were, never went to class and went and took the tests and he was on academic scholarship. But he had to do it his way, and nobody could tell him any different. One time he wanted to go to a party, and we said, well, we don't want you to go to that party. What are the consequences? This and this and this are the consequences. He said, well, those are worth it to me. And he left, went to the party. I mean, if you think you can control an indigo child, you're up in the night. You cannot control them. Meet them where they are. Don't act like you're above them, trying to reach down and pull them up to your level. They can't take self-righteousness. They need to know that they're respected. And so anyway, that's just a quick 1 minute on indigo children, but they are amazing, amazing children. And we can learn as parents so much from them.
Indigos can be pioneers.
Yes.
They have the rebel nature,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yes.
yeah, they can clear a path.
Yes. And my indigo son, when he was a teenager, I thought I was going to pull my hair out, and now he's the most fun person, and teaches me things, and we have the deepest discussions, and so if you can survive their teen years, it'll be great.
Yes.
But anyway,
Oh my gosh, such good stuff. So people get to get your ebook.
Yes, I'll send
on
it
the
to you.
Aura.
Or I did already. I already sent it to you.
Yep. It's just, we put it up in there again. Okay. And then do you have a resource for indigos if people want to know more about that?
Well, there's a lot more. I'm sorry I went through that so fast, but on my website, I have the whole Aura class, which talks more about indigos. I also have parenting classes, kathytruman.com. I have parenting ebooks, my Lighthouse Principles book, about being the light that shines an example to your children instead of trying to force them to row and jumping in the storm with them. My Lighthouse book is very much about my experience with my own indigo child. And so it has tons of parenting tips in that. If you go to kathytruman.com, you'll see all my ebooks. You'll see the 6 books that I've written.
With the freebies, so what you're going to do is watch your email, like open up your emails, and we're going to put in there like it's kind of basically a one-stop shop kind of thing. So there's a combination of a document and a hub that you'll get access to these things in. And then some of the people that are doing freebies will have links, and then you just opt into their site. So we'll make sure that we've got either the actual document or the opt-in so that you can get it in their system. So
okay, that sounds great. If you just put the free ebook and then you just put kathytruman.com under it, they'll be able to go there to see all the other stuff.
Get all the different resources. So many resources.
And
like
Christine,
library.
thank you for this
opportunity. Thank you.
I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you, thank
And
you.
there's always so many insights and so much to learn. I'm looking forward to going back through all the replays and listening to everything.